good when you clap. Isn't that fun? You want to stomp and jump around a little bit? Maybe not. Maybe just me. Hey, well, welcome to Youth Sunday, part 2, because we already did this in the first service. And you missed it because it was awesome. And so that you're here now, that's incredible. Not only is it Youth Sunday, and we have a youth band leading, which they sound really good, don't they? There you go. Yeah, see, this doesn't mean you can come hang out on Wednesday nights, because this is what it sounds like on Wednesday nights, okay? And those of you that are in adult Bible study, you've already heard it, and you've like banged on the door and said, hey, turn that crazy stuff down. Just kidding. Hey, anyways, like I said, it's Youth Sunday, and one of the things that we're going to do today is we're also going to honor our graduates. We have some high school graduates, we have some college graduates, and we're going to honor them. But above all, we're going to honor Jesus this morning. So would you pray with me, and we're going to honor Jesus as we worship this morning. Jesus, we love you so much. Thank you so much for being here with us today. God, I pray that as we sing, as we worship today, that it would be clear that there is no one in this entire world like you. There is no one in this world, there is no one outside this world, there is no one who has ever existed or ever will exist that could be anything like you. Thank you, Jesus, for that fact this morning. I pray that we would worship with our whole hearts this morning. We love you, Jesus. Amen. Hey, the other thing I forgot to mention, because I forgot, is there's these really cool connection cards, and there's this really cool thing happening since it's youth weekend, and we did some whitewater kayaking, more brown water kayaking, but it was fun, and we did some bowling and stuff. And then the other thing that's happening is there's this $50 gift card that we're giving away to a student who wins a drawing that's here this morning. So if you are a 6th through 12th grade student and you would like to maybe win that, you don't have to live here. If you'd like to maybe win that, then if you would fill out a connection card with all that information and put it in the offering plate when it goes by, we will find you and we will give you that gift card if you win. And we won't give it to you if you don't win. It's okay to laugh. It's 11 o'clock. Let's sing this together. Somebody clap too. Beautiful, anyone, ever, every day, you'll sing, you'll change, you'll never. How could you be so good?
Psalm 148, 1 through 6. Praise the Lord from the heavens. Praise him in the heights above. Praise him, all his angels. Praise him, all his heavenly hosts. Praise him, sun and moon. Praise him, all you shining stars. Praise him, you highest heavens, and you waters above the skies. Let him praise the name of the Lord, for at his command they will create. They were created, and he established them forever and ever. He issued a decree that will never pass away.
Inside Psalm 46:2. God is our refuge and strength, and ever-present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear, through the earth given way to the mountains, fall into the heart of the sea.
Jesus, thank you that you care for us even in times of trouble. Lord, at those moments where things seem most uncertain are the times that you're closest. Thank you that as we walk through darkness, you shine a light. Thank you for the cross and what you did for us. We love you, Jesus. Amen. You can be seated. I'm going to change hats for a minute, or change mics, but hey, thank you so much for being here on Youth Sunday. I've been in churches where we go to there's Youth Sunday and people hear about it ahead of time and they're like, oh, the music's going to be loud and it's not going to be very good. And I just want to say, like, this is one of the most talented group of students that I've ever had the pleasure of. I take no credit for it, because they knew how to do this before I got here. Okay, so somebody before me taught them how to do all this. But there's a couple of things that I want you to know about. Number one is we go to camp every year, and you'd see a video of it if technology didn't hate me this morning. But we go to camp every year. It's this amazing camp. We had like 120 students and leaders at this camp last year. We took 4 of our own students, and in the past 2 years that I've taken students to camp, we've had every student that we've taken has had significant experience. There's been things that they've wanted to change, and I've seen them grow as we've come back and gone back and forth to camp and do different things. And it's a tremendous experience for them. And I'm just curious, how many of you went to a youth camp when you were growing up? Okay. All right. Yeah, Nancy still does. Okay. Now keep your hand up if it had a significant impact on you. It still does. Okay, there you go. Good. All right. That same impact that camp has had on you, we want to be able to provide that for our students and for as many students as possible. So that's why we talk about camp, and that's why we take the time on Youth Sunday to tell you about that and share that with you. Because youth camp is an amazing time. We actually have 3 of our guys that you'll see at some point during this service that have confessed a call to full-time ministry. And some of that has happened as a result of being at youth camp. It's an amazing thing, especially as a youth pastor, you're getting to be here and see this. I love it. It's one of the things I love. And it's one of the things that we can do as a church to support them. When I was growing up, I'm still growing up. Yeah, that's right. But when I was in college, there was a lady that, after I'd interned back at our home church, she wanted to invest in me. And so she would send me checks every month, and she would help me pay for books, help me pay for gas and things to get home. And she invested in me. And she's one of the reasons that I'm in ministry today. Because not only did she help me financially, but she cared for me and prayed for me and sent me cards. So as you see these students grow up, and maybe you've been in church long enough and you've watched them from the time they were in Kids Zone, and now you see them in youth group, and you'll see them in college, please don't forget them. Please continue to encourage them, because you have an opportunity to impact them. And that's not what I meant to talk about, but that's what we're talking about. So what I do want to share with you is we have an incredible yard sale fundraiser coming up.
Guys, gotta get out of here, right now, seriously. Go that way, It's more fault. What? Who's coming? The Tatari, dude, we gotta get out of here. No. What's the Tatari? It's the alien from the Avengers. Okay, seriously, we gotta get serious about this. We gotta. Oh, I know. Okay, I have a ray gun beat blaster at my house. I got it at the yard sale. Wait, you got it at the yard sale? Yeah, I got it at the yard sale. That's not the board. We gotta go. No. You got an AK-47 ray gun at a yard sale. Yes, an AK-47. They have ray guns at the yard sale. Yeah, you can get like anything at a yard sale. Isn't it like insanely expensive? Well, it's $250. No, 250 pennies. It's that cheap. Oh!
Guys, I think I'm going to make skits from now on. Don't worry, everything's okay. But anyway, speaking of yard sale, Chris, I'm so glad you reminded me. There's this yard sale coming up June the 6th. It's a Saturday. And this is going to help any donations we have, and all the funds that we get are going to be raised to hopefully raise about $3,000 to send 30 students to camp this year, between middle school and high school students and kids. If we go over $3,000, that would be awesome. So that's our goal. That's what we're shooting for. So here's what we need. We need your high-quality used merchandise. Some people call it junk. We call it high-quality used merchandise. Okay, it's that stuff that sits in your basement, and every time you walk down in the basement, you look at it and say, "I can't get rid of this. I might need this someday." You don't need it. We do. Okay. It's going to send kids to camp, and it's going to change their lives forever. Okay. That wedding present you got 30 years ago, we'll send a kid to camp, and it will help change their life forever. Okay. I promise. I have a trunk full of wedding gifts that we need to get rid of because we didn't do it last year. So we've been married about 6 years. I'll be 6 years August the 8th because I know my anniversary. All right. So we have this yard sale coming up. The other way that you can help support students and send them to camp is by eating an incredible meal from a professional chef and laughing for an hour or two. That sound okay?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to, I guess, if you want to be bored. But here's what's going on. We do this thing. It's the second year we've done it. It's called Dinner and a Show. It's an amazingly fun fundraiser. Okay? Some would say it puts the fun in fundraiser. You know that was funny. All right, but it's an amazing thing. If you like the show, Whose Line Is It Anyway? We have some funnier students than anybody in that show, and a little more appropriate, except for that sketch. I don't know what that was about. But we have a professional chef in our midst who is probably not here because he's making things look and taste and smell delicious. We have a professional chef. I believe it's rosemary crusted pork loins.
It's very good.
I don't know what it is. It smells delicious. And if you don't believe me, then you need to get up and walk out right now. And you need to go ahead, I'm serious. Because you need to come to this fundraiser. Go and you need to just open the door to the fellowship hall. Or Ray, can we maybe open it and just let it waft out into the masses? There you go. So, it's an incredible fundraiser, and if you pre-ordered tickets, they were $10, but if you didn't, and if you weren't sure about it, then now they're $15, but that's great because now you can support more students going to camp. So come, and it's $15 if you're going to purchase tickets at the door. It is right after this service, right about 12:30. Kids under 10 are free, okay? So if you were planning to go to Applebee's or McDonald's with like one or more children today, this is cheaper, okay? And better, because Frank also has like spaghetti and meatballs for the kids. And are you kids hungry yet? Do you guys like Mr. Frank's cooking? Yeah. Mr. Frank is a little bit of a celebrity among the kids around here. So come, please be a part of that. It's an amazing time. You're gonna love it. So come, be a part of that. You can purchase tickets right up there when you walk in. You can just give us a boatload of cash or whatever's in your wallet. That sounds good. So come be a part of that. See, I say these things to see if you're paying attention. The other thing that we need to do this morning is we need to honor some graduates. And you know what? Ray, could you go ahead and pull up the lights so everybody can see all these wonderful people? We have some graduates in our midst, and I looked around and I think I saw all of them. I need somebody to go grab one of them out of the nursery. Somebody can grab her. But if you're a graduate of any kind in the past, well, hopefully you're one that I know about. If I didn't know about you, then I don't have something for you, so sorry. So Matt, you gotta come out here. Seth, you can come stand up here. It's only for a minute, I promise. And Rebecca's not here. Well, you're right. We'll get some to her later. And then Dave's gotta come up. Yes. Yeah, and then Sam's coming from the back somewhere. Got you, Sam. Hey Hudson, how are you, buddy? Good to see you. Yeah, and this is my son Hudson back here. I love him very much. He likes when I talk about him. And Seth doesn't like when I talk about him, so I'm not going to talk about Seth a ton. But guys, this is Seth down at the end. Everybody give it up for Seth. There you go. Sam, you got to come stand up here. You can come stand up here.
Make him pretty,
Yeah, smile nicely. So we have all of these guys and lady, and Rebecca Wheeler just graduated from Virginia Western as well, correct? Right? And she's going to Radford in the fall. There you go. Emily, where'd you go? There you go. I'm just going to start on the end. This is Matt Jacobson. Some of you have no idea who this kid is. Because for the past several years, he sits in that window up there behind the curtains. And we don't pay attention to him because that's where we leave him.
Only when I make a mistake.
It's safe. Matt is a senior. He's graduating from RVCS. And you're going to go to Virginia Western, right, in the fall. And then hopefully one day you're going to transfer to Indiana Wesleyan University. Premier Wesleyan University, okay? Amazing school. So Matt, for you, we've got this really great book. Yeah, this is for you. This really great book called God's Promises for Graduates. And Matt is one that I've been a little closer to than some because he likes to move my car. I don't want to stand closer to him. And you can compliment him on his shoes, and if you can't see his shoes, you'll understand why I say that later. But Matt is an incredible kid. He loves Jesus. He's been a part of basically every mission trip that's ever existed. Except for last year, because you were working at some camp, sharing Jesus with kids that don't know Jesus. So it's amazing. It's Camp Roanoke, that's what it's called, right? Okay. Matt's actually, you're going to see a little less of Matt unless you come to the first service in the next couple weeks, because Matt is going to Camp Roanoke. And he works there and as a counselor, right? See, I didn't write this down, I'm doing this all from memory. Supreme Overlord? Yeah, we run that by our boss. I'm very impressed with Matt. Matt is an incredible kid.
He's also he's the quiz team captain. Also.
That's the other thing I was getting to. I knew I should have written some stuff down. Matt, how many years have you been doing Bible quiz?
All of them.
All of them.
Since sixth grade.
Okay, so like 6 years, okay. And Dave, you graduated from Virginia Western with a certificate, is that what it's called?
Certificate.
Okay, in welding. So the next time you need something welded, you need to call this guy right here. He will weld it to whatever you want to weld it to.
No trees, please.
Yeah, don't ask him to do trees. He doesn't do trees. He does welds. So Dave has been one of the guys that's come around the church and has done a ton of work. He's not officially a trustee, but he is the trustee's favorite gopher. He does help. He's done some painting, done some building, and he did chop down trees here, and it was safe here. So David got to this really. We do have witnesses, yeah. So we got you this really great devotional book we want you to hold on to, because you are a graduate. We love you, Dave. And Seth, I don't get to know quite as well, because most of the time I get to see Seth is he runs by my office after school, and he is despising me right now. And so Seth just graduated from Cave Spring High School, and you're going to go to Virginia Western, and you're going to be a nuclear scientist. You wish. Okay. He's going to be a mad scientist someday. So give it up for Seth, because I'm not going to talk about it. Now, somebody I don't mind embarrassing, because she's amazing. This is Sam Parsons, and hopefully you know her. If you don't, well, I've never gotten that kind of applause. Sam has been a part of the church for many years. During a time before I came and after the previous assistant pastor left, Sam was the glue that held the youth group together. She is a huge part of the reason that we still have a youth ministry here at Pentecost, and she's done an incredible job. She is a math genius, and she is going to save the world with math somehow, someday, some way. And she's going to do it by moving to Flint, Michigan, and she's going to serve at the church I grew up in, where her favorite youth pastor, which is not me, is now the senior pastor. It's insane. I'll tell you the story later. But she's moving to Flint, Michigan, so you won't see her until you're moving in August, right?
Yes.
Okay, so give her a hug before August, all right? Like every time you see her before August. But Sam's going to be going up there. She's going to be serving in ministry at my home church, which is awesome. She'll be serving with Scotty, and she won't live with my grandma. I don't know why.
Well, the internship includes.
Yeah, there's that. So be in prayer for Sam as she goes up there and lives in what is not anymore the most dangerous city in America, in case you're wondering. So we got you this really awesome devotion book for you. So, hey, would you give it up for all of our graduates? Also, like I said, Rebecca Wheeler and hey, Seth, come here. Take this to Rebecca. There you go. Thanks, bro. Rebecca Wheeler also graduated, and Sam's actually headed back to the nursery to help serve. Like I said earlier, please don't forget these graduates. As you think of them, anytime you think about school or anything like that, would you just pray for them and just lift up a prayer? Would you send them a card? If you need their address, we'll find it for you. But would you just encourage them? Because we don't want them to think that we've abandoned them, even though Sam is moving to the coolest city on the planet. I don't know, I'm pretty fond of Michigan. It's on purpose, see? You guys are from Ohio, so you don't have that extension. Okay. So we're going to have our ushers come forward now. We're going to take our tithes and offerings this morning. As you give, what I want you to know, you give to life change. Okay? Sometimes it's hard for you to see when you just write the check or you drop the cash in there in the envelope and stuff. But what you're giving to is you're giving to lives that are changed. Each student that you've seen up here is a result. They're here because you've given, because these doors are still open. So that's what you give to. You give to students' lives being changed. And Chris is going to come up and he's going to pray for our offering for us.
All right, let's pray. Dear Lord, we thank you for this day, for all the wonderful miracles and blessings that you do for us. We pray that you bless this offering, that you use it to your will, for we know that your will is the greatest of all. We pray that we can use this offering in amazing ways and to reach out to people and to better the church. And we also pray that we use it to lift your name up high. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
We love you so much. Thank you that your kingdom is coming here on this earth. We love you, Jesus. Be with us now. Be with students that come and speak. Would you speak to our hearts as we hear from you today? We love you, Jesus. Amen. You can be seated. There's a quick little video clip that you need to see that I think is going to work in this service if I use the clicker properly.
Fear is the path of the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering.
Yeah. All right. Anybody know what movie that's from?
Spaceball.
No. So close. Groundhog Day. No, but you're real close. You're just this close, Pastor. Now, this is from not the greatest Star Wars movie of them all, but this is from Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. I remember seeing this when I was 10 years old, and the way Yoda says it is a lot creepier than I think it's supposed to be. But it's really creepy. But it is very true, and that's what we want to talk about this morning. We want to talk about fear, because fear is not something that it evolves into fear. Things kind of start from fear. And hopefully you'll see that this morning, as Yoda's already addressed. I come to youth Sunday, playing Yoda in the service. No big deal, it's okay. See, it's youth Sunday, that's why we put babies crying and stuff. It's cool. Just enjoy it, okay? You used to cry like that too. Don't worry about it. So one of the things that we're going to do on Youth Sunday, because it's awesome, and because Youth Sunday rocks, is we actually have a couple of students that are going to actually preach the message for us this morning. And so what I want is I want you to really enjoy this. I want you to really focus in. What I heard this morning was better than some pastors I've listened to. Okay? It's that good. And I wrote none of it. Okay? Amen. All right, there you go. You can applaud that. It's cool. So as Chris comes, would you erupt in applause for Christopher Quiros as he comes and brings a message for us this morning?
Get this on. 1 second. Okay, hey! I guess I should start by introducing myself. As Darren mentioned, my name is Chris. And I've been going to PFWC for a little over a year now, and I have to say, I really love this church a lot. The whole community here just makes you feel like you're family, and you can be who you want to be. If you want to be stupid, you can be stupid. If you want to be insane, you can be insane. They won't judge you, but they'll laugh at you. Maybe not with you, but at you at least. And so, I just love the whole community that we have. We're all supportive of each other, and it's just really great. Another thing that I really like about this church is how the youth group gets to go on a lot of cool trips and events. Like last summer actually, we went to Flint, Michigan. Sam, where are you? Yeah, she's going there. She's going. She's over there. She's going there. We refurbished a softball field, and we worked in a food shelter, and we did a lot of good works there. We also last summer, we also got to work with the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and we made a little boy's dreams of becoming Spider-Man for a day come true. Mason wasn't there, but that's okay. And a couple months ago, we got to go to Winter Jam, which, if you didn't know, is this big Christian concert that comes once a year. And there's a bunch of famous Christian artists that come, and we can really have fun praising the Lord while we're there. And so, also, as you may know, this weekend is one of those events, being Youth Weekend, hence you get to listen to us two knuckleheads talk today. But besides from letting the youth conduct the service today, another part of the Youth Weekend consisted of a whitewater rafting trip yesterday up in Buchanan. And it quickly actually turned into a whitewater kayaking trip because we realized that the rafts would be slow and boring, and it really wasn't even whitewater, it was just class 1, class 2, which is, if you didn't know, it's okay. And so we got out there on the kayaks, and let me just tell you, it was one of the most gorgeous days I have ever seen. If the sun was out, the sky was clear, it was warm, the water was nice and cool and kind of clear. And the scenery was just breathtaking. You could see the mountains and the trees everywhere. And all that was, wonderful. And then I flipped my kayak. And so, at first, of course, it was kind of funny, because, what's not funny about seeing your friend get dunked into cold river water. But after Darren had stopped laughing at me, he told me that I should probably start swimming to shore pretty soon, or else, you don't want to be in the river for too long. Because you want to get back in the kayak, you don't want to drift down the rest of the river. Just... And so, he told me to get to shore, but the problem with that was, shore is about 20 yards away, and I have to use only my feet. I'm holding onto a kayak with the paddles up here, and I'm still pushing. I can only use my feet to do that, and at the same time, the river current is pushing me this way, and it's really hard to swim against the current to get to where I want it to be. And so, it was okay. After about 30 seconds, I'd maybe gone 5 or 6 yards or so. It didn't make that much headway. But about after that 30 seconds had passed, I started hearing not the sound of the water around me, but the sound of a louder, rushing type water a little ways downstream. And I turn my head, and I see the rapids approaching. And I still had a long ways to go till I got to shore. And naturally, I freaked out, and I started flailing my legs, trying to get to shore as quick as I could, because I wanted to get to safety, who wants to be in the rapids? But, of course, I ended up in the rapids. And I actually tried to get in my kayak while I was going through the rapids, and then flipped over again. So, it didn't work out too well for me. But as I was getting tumbled and thrown around within the rapids, I was scared, and I was fearful, and I didn't know what was going to happen, and I was just terrified, because, I'd never been whitewater kayaking before, and when you're caught in these, rocks that are sort of almost jagging up out of the water, and you're just sort of floating all around like that, you really don't know what's going to happen. And so I started to get a little scared, and then I realized that everything would be okay. Before I get to that, if you have your Bibles, I would turn to Matthew chapter 8. And the disciples actually went through something similar in Matthew chapter 8. And it starts at verse 23, and it says, "Then Jesus got into the boat and started across the lake with his disciples. Suddenly a fierce storm struck the lake, with waves breaking into the boat. But Jesus was sleeping." Now, just a little bit of backstory on this story. They were in the Sea of Galilee, which has these random storms that there's very little to no warning that they occur. They occur in the surrounding mountains, and they can brew up waves that can get up to 20 feet tall. Yeah, that's 3 Masons and 1 baby Owen, just stacked on top of each other, just inside of your boat. And I really would not enjoy that at all. And so the disciples, as you can imagine, were very, very frightened. And, sorry, I'm trying to find my notes, but I think I can just swing it. The disciples, of course, were very frightened, and I'm sure they were scared of capsizing or drowning or, anything else that could happen. The Kraken comes out, who knows? And so what did they do? Naturally, they run to their teacher, the person who is guiding them, and they want to, try and get guidance from him, hey, what do we do? What do we do? And they go down there, and they see that he is asleep in this humongous storm with 3 Mason and 1 baby Owen waves, and they're just wait, how are you sleeping at this time? And well, in the Old Testament, it actually mentions that the ability to sleep untroubled is, quote, a sign of faith in the protective power of God. Now, Jesus had full faith in his Father, knowing that he would be kept safe while he slept, so there was no need to fear. But even though that, the disciples were, of course, very afraid. So, and picking up back at verse 25, the disciples went and woke him up, shouting, "Lord, save us, we are going to drown." Jesus responded, "Why are you afraid? You have so little faith." Then he got up and rebuked the wind and the waves, and suddenly there was a great calm. The disciples were amazed. "Who is this man?" they asked. "Even the wind and the waves obey him." Even the wind and the waves obey him. Even in times of true peril, it's important that we never lose faith in the Lord. Yes, I was scared as I was tumbling through those rapids, but I didn't doubt for a second that God was with me. I don't know what your struggles may be, and I perhaps may never know. But what I do know is that God loves you infinitely more than you could ever possibly imagine. We all have our storms and rapids, and it's imperative to believe that God is always there to pull you up out of the water and into his loving arms. I take great comfort in the fact that God will never abandon me nor forsake me, and he will never abandon any of you either. Let's pray. Dear Lord, we thank you for this day, for all the wonderful blessings you have given to us. I know that we all have our individual struggles, and it can feel like there's no possible way out. I pray that you help us keep our faith, even in the most distressing of situations. I want to thank you for getting me out of those rapids safely yesterday, and for getting us out of those rapids every day of our lives. You are so glorious and incredible, and I thank you for all of the awesome things that you do. I pray that you be with Mason as he comes up to speak, and that you give him the words to say so that he can teach us all more about you. It's in your grand and holy name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Well, now my friend Mason's going to come up and speak, so you guys put your hands together again for him.
Dropping my notes. Well, thank you, Chris. You did really good. Didn't you do amazing? Let's give him a round of applause. So today our message is about fear, and there's all types of fear. There's fear of the unknown. There's fear of heights, fear of snakes. There's just fear of like physical objects. Well, yesterday Chris had a pretty scary experience on the river. Well, we came to this area that had a rope, and we decided to jump off of it because you see a rope and a river, and we're like, hey, I want to go jump into that. Well, Chris gets up there and he's flying. He lands there, and it's amazing. Well, then I go up there, and Chris fails to tell me that the rope is tangled and caught.
I didn't know it was gone there.
So I go out. I jump, and then I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not going as far as Chris is. And I slip off, and as I'm going, like, hey, those rocks look pretty close. And I smack into the water, but I'm fine. But for a moment, I was pretty afraid. Now, yes, there's physical fears, but there can be fears of like speaking out or like standing up for stuff. And I know that I have fears of like, I don't know, just speaking to others sometimes. I have self-esteem issues. It's like, and then I have like self-importance issues. Like, you see people like Jonah, who's like amazing at guitar. You see Sam, who's amazing at singing. You see all these people with talents, and then there's me. And I'm not really good at anything. And
You can run like nobody's business.
not even good at running, but so we're going to talk about the non-physical fears. And if you have your Bibles, I'd like you to turn to Joshua 1. After the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord said to Joshua, son of Nun, Moses' sake, Moses, my servant, is dead. Now then,
you and all these people get ready to cross the Jordan River into the land I am about to give them. Now I want to pause there for a moment. Joshua is taking over the role of Moses. Not just a regular old Moses, the Moses, the one chosen by God to lead those into the promised land, and the one who's given the 10 Commandments. Now, I don't know about you, but if I had to take over the role of someone as important as Moses, I'd be a little freaked out. So, just keep that in mind as we continue to read. I will give you every place where you set your foot, as I promised Moses. Your territory will extend from the desert to Lebanon and from the great river Euphrates, all the Hittite country to the Mediterranean Sea in the west. No one will be able to stand against you all the days of your life. As I was with Moses, so I will be with you. I will never leave you nor forsake you. Be strong and courageous, because you will lead these people to inherit the land I swore to their ancestors to give them. Now God promises Joshua something, and I'd like you to keep that in mind for after I'm done. Be strong and very courageous. Be careful to obey all the law my servant Moses gave you. Do not turn from it to the right or to the left, that you may be successful wherever you go. Keep this book of the law always on your lips. Meditate on it day and night, so that you may be careful to do everything written in it. Then you will be prosperous and successful. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Now, like I said with my self-esteem issues, my parents have always encouraged me, and that helps me get through it sometimes. And God is doing that for Joshua right here. So Joshua, he's taking over the role of Moses, and he feels like he's not going to be able to live up to the expectations that Moses had. God gives him the strength and reminds him to have courage. He says it 3 times to completely remind him, be strong, be courageous, for I'll never forsake you. He gave him strength. God knew that Joshua had fear, but he assured him that he will always be with him wherever he goes. My parents have always told me they'll be there for me wherever I go and whatever I do, and they'll give me strength whenever I'm afraid or weak. Well, God is imagine the love your parents have for you, and multiply that by an unknown number, and you still don't come even close to how much God loves you, and how much He cares for you, and how much He's going to protect you. His love is deeper for us than anything we could possibly understand. He knows we all have our fears and our worries, but He's right here next to us. He's where He says, be still. I'm never going to leave you. Be strong.
Right.
For you can cast all your fears on me. You have nothing to fear. I love you. God says, if you follow His words, follow the commandments He's given you, you will never have anything to fear. He encourages us, and He will never leave us. He loves us. He loves us so much, He's never going to give us anything that we can't handle. With God, you don't need to fear. You can cast out all your fear and trust Him. He gives us the strength. He gives us the courage we need to make it through this life so we can live in His arms for eternity. With God, there's nothing to fear. If you put your faith in Him, there's nothing to fear. Without God, you have only death. You have only hell. You have only fear for all eternity. Without Him, everything is hopeless. There's no past, there's no present, there's no future. There's just death waiting for you. Fear's going to take hold of you and consume you. And you're going to be terrified to do it. Without God, there's no hope. There's eternity. There's salvation. There's strength. There's courage. There's numerous things that are made possible with Him. Things that you never thought possible. Things you never thought you could do. With God, it comes true. You never have to fear anything because your hope is in the one who made you perfect and knew you since the creation. With God, there's hope. Most importantly, with God, there is love. Love so amazing and pure that He encourages us and gives us the strength and hope we need. God will be there for you. Just cast your fears on Him, and He will encourage you to be strong. He'll never abandon you. Thank you for listening to me and letting me preach to you today. I'm going to close in prayer. Dear Jesus, thank you so much for letting us be here today. Thank you that there's some new faces here that got to hear about fear and how you love us, how you'll be there with us forever. Lord, I thank you that you let us live in this place, that we can just come out here and praise you. Lord, I pray that you'll remind us that you're always with us and that we don't have anything to fear with you. Lord, I thank you for the promises you've given us and the hope that we have in you. For it's through you I pray. Amen.
Amen.
You know, one of the things that you hear a lot in the news is that there's not a lot of hope for our generation, for this generation. And I hope you know we proved them wrong today. That's right. There's one more story I want to share with you guys. And I have this wonderful little kid named Hudson, and I have another wonderful little kid named Owen. And I'm going to have another little kid, I'm not going to tell you his name yet. Hopefully in July, you'll hear his name then. But when Hudson was little, we got him this little thing. And maybe some of your kids have one of these, maybe you still have one of these. It's cool, it's no big deal. But what it does is this really great little turtle, and you push the button, it projects the stars up on the ceiling. It's very cool, and it doesn't work, so I brought different stars. See, when Hudson was little, he'd get afraid of the dark. And I'd turn this on, and I'd tell him, I'd say, Hudson, who made those stars? Hudson, who made the stars? Jesus, okay? He didn't. No, really. He didn't know his lines. I forgot to tell him his lines ahead of time. But he would sit there and he said, yeah, Jesus made the stars. And I said, look, Hudson, you don't have to be afraid of the dark. Because if you can see those stars, then you can know that Jesus, the one who made those stars, loves you. And that Jesus is watching out for you. And that you don't have to be afraid, because 1 John 4:18 says this, says, perfect love drives out fear. So as you go through life and you get afraid and life looks dark, know that God is with you, that God is watching over you. When things seem dim, when things seem like there's no way out, look up and see the stars, see the one that created the stars, and know that He loves you. The band's going to come on back up, and we're going to sing a song. This is a song called Always. And this song we want to sing this as a declaration this morning. That no matter what is happening in your life, no matter how dark things might seem, that Jesus is always watching over you. And here's what I want you to do. When we get to this bridge part, it's this line that repeats several times. It says, I lift my eyes up. Where does my help come from? It's an easy line. You can remember it. Why don't you just look up at those stars and be reminded that Jesus is watching out for you. Amen. Let's pray together. Lord Jesus, thank you that you watch out for us. Thank you that you care for us even in times of darkness, in times where there's clouds, in times where there's storms, in times where we need courage. Lord Jesus, would you let us be reminded in this moment today that you are always, always, always there. Let's stand together and let's sing this as a declaration to God. that with me? And oh my God, He will not delay. My refuge and strength always, always. Jesus, you are truly always with us. God, as we look to the stars, would you remind us that you love us, that you care for us, that we have nothing to fear, that we can put our faith and our hope and our trust in you and in you alone. We love you, Jesus.